question is, who let the dogs out?
Who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out?
Who let the dogs out?
That is the question. Good evening, this is Bob W6CJX, and I'm here for the Papa System Sunday Night Great Outdoor Net. This is a directed net, so please go through net control at all times, and your cooperation is always greatly appreciated. This net meets every Sunday evening at 8 p.m. Pacific time. Before we get started, let's pause for any emergency or priority traffic. All right, hearing nothing but crickets, we'll continue with the net. Stations with emergency or priority traffic can come into the net at any time with a double break, and net control will respond appropriately. The Papa System is a open membership supported system in the Southern California area with coverage from the Mexican border to Paso Robles and from the Channel Islands to Las Vegas, Nevada. If you're a visitor to the Papa System tonight, I invite you to go to papasys.com, that's PAPASYS.com, and register as a guest. With your guest registration, you have 45 days of free access to the Papa System. At the end of your guest access period, we'd love for you to become a subscribed member, continue to use, and be a part of the Papa System family. However, all amateurs are welcome to participate in the daily, weekly, and monthly Papa System nets, regardless of their membership status. Again, this is the Papa System Great Outdoor Net. All righty, we got rid of the crickets, and here we are, another Sunday evening. I don't know, is it me, or do you see that Sundays are coming around way too fast? Well, no, I'm not complaining, not from the net perspective, just time going by too fast, actually. But happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. This is a wonderful day. We spent some time with our daughter and had a nice lunch up in Ventura, and that was really fun. And then we just kind of watched the Dodger game, which was also very good. I won't give you any scores, but if you're a Dodger fan, you'll probably like it. And just relax this afternoon before doing the net tonight. So with that, let's get some announcements out of the way. And there's a lot of good stuff coming up. The only luncheon we have this week coming up will be San Diego, and but we have a lot of little things happening. We have, anyway, we'll get into it. Stand by.
Here are the Papa System weekly announcements. The Papa San Diego Luncheon. Papa will be meeting in person on May 17th at 11 a.m. at Cocina del Charro in San Marcos. Cocina del Charro has arranged for a special buffet. $24 including tax and tip. We need a minimum of 25 attendees for this price. Purchase your buffet tickets on the Papa website in advance. Special presentation. The Papa Data Center. Ever wondered about the behind-the-scenes magic that supports our repeater network? Join us for Ray WB6 LST's excellent video about the Papa Data Center. Also a special video from Darren WD6USN on the art of tower climbing. Ham license exams are available in conjunction with the San Diego Papa System Luncheon. Remember, you must pre-register for an exam session and purchase your buffet luncheon. Papa Quick Start Program. In conjunction with our test sessions, Papa has a quick start program to help get all newly licensed technicians a pre-programmed UHF handheld radio at no cost to you if you sign up for the program. See the Papa website for more information. Papa is looking for a few talented volunteers that would enjoy creating and maintaining radio code plugs for the Papa System. Are you interested in becoming a code plug author for the Papa Code Plug team? Pick your favorite radio to support and contact Evo, ko6bkx@gmail.com. Please take a moment to read the Papa System Smooth Operator Guide located at the right side of the home page on the Papa website. The Papa Picnic is on for 2025. Papa will be meeting in person on Sunday, June 8th at 10 a.m. for the Papa Picnic. We will be at a new location, the Falcon Flats Group area in Irvine Regional Park. The park is located at 1 Irvine Park Road, Orange, California. There is a park entrance fee of $5. All this information and a whole lot more can be found on the PAPA website at papasys.com.
This is Bob W6CJX trying to, get it together tonight. What's going on? My goodness, it must be the heat. I don't know if you guys are enjoying that. I'm not particularly, but I guess it's something we have to go through. They're kind of letting us warm up a little, then cool us off, then warm us up again, and then they'll just turn the heater on full blast, I think, is what's going to happen. Well, hope everyone's doing well this weekend. And like I said, if you have any Mother's Day plans that you did today, something cool like took your mom or your mom's mom or took a mother or two out on a boat and went sailing, something really cool, let us know. Skydiving, maybe a hot air balloon, anything outdoor related would be kind of neat, or just gathered in the backyard. But that's not our topic. Our topic is about dogs. And dogs, hiking and camping, good combination, or any kind of outdoor activity. So hopefully if you've ever hiked and camped with dogs, that would be nice to talk about tonight, and let us know what you did or what you do if you're still doing it. Let's check in with our outdoor reporter for this evening. Steve, KI6LOV, what you got for us from the great outdoors?
All right, good evening, Bob, and everyone out here on the Great Outdoor Net. This is Steve, KI6LOV. I was out at my cabin this weekend, and before I mention any more about that, when you bring your dog to the great outdoors, especially in the Angeles National Forest, the rule is on a leash at all times for the safety of your dog and other dogs and other people and the wildlife. And please, I saw people who didn't understand the regulations today, and I had to explain it to them. So, for the safety of your dog and everybody else. Anyway, all right. Well, anyway, it was a beautiful weekend. It was kind of hot out there. I'm not going to lie to you. But it was beautiful, and the bugs have not all hatched out yet, so it won't be long, though. So be ready for that. And, Bob, I guess I'll go ahead and preview for everyone that I'll be back in a couple of weeks on Memorial Day weekend with Bob here to do Steve's Cabin Part 3. And so I would encourage everyone, if you have questions, to get them ready. And you may even listen to the previous two episodes if you haven't already. And maybe you have a favorite story. Maybe you'd like to hear a new story. Or you have questions about the history of the canyon and all that. And you can go ahead and Google search Big Santa Anita Canyon and check it out. So I'll give it back to you, Bob. Have a great net. Arf, arf. And we'll talk to you soon. KI6LOV.
And there's Steve for our outdoor report of the week. We appreciate that, Steve. And enjoy a little piece of the outdoors you can bring in here to us. And thanks for the dog portion of that. You'd be surprised, and I kind of knew this ahead of time. I just went ahead and Googled it for about 20 minutes and didn't come up with a whole lot of answers. Then I asked this famous little round magic box that sits on my desk here in the shack, and asked her if dogs were allowed in county parks, state parks, and national parks. And what she told me, county parks, yes, on a leash at all times. California state parks, no. No, no, no. Now, I remember that from my hiking days of Point Magoo State Park, and there was always someone bringing a dog. But, it's one of those things. We don't have rangers very much anymore. I don't know who's going to enforce it, so, oh well. As long as there's not as many dangers out that way as they would be by Steve's Cabin, if you can picture a dog coming around the corner on a trail and meeting up with a black bear. And then I looked into national parks. Now, we go to a national park each year for Papa Ham Camp out on Santa Cruz Island, but I'll be darned if they'll let you bring a dog out there. But you can bring dogs into most national parks. It says they'll look them up individually, but Yeah, can you imagine bringing a dog over to Channel Islands? Hoping Matt was out there tonight too. If he K3MAT, I think I heard him check in on the DRT net. Maybe give us a little update on his trip out there too to the island. Would love to hear from him on that. Okay, so I think we're ready to go. There's a few do's and don'ts with dogs, but I think most people kind of know, pick up after them and those kind of fun things. Don't just kick it off the trail. I know, that sounds pretty bad. W6 CJX for the Papa System Great Outdoor Net. Let's take a few check-ins and see who's out there tonight. Would like to discuss dogs in the great outdoors, I guess. Either hiking, biking, camping. It's always a fun companion to have along. Please come now.
Kilo 6, Hotel November Golf.
Victor November, Jim Cerritos.
KD6 LLD.
Ellen, Gavilan Hills.
KO6 GRJ. KO6 JAW.
KO6 CZH.
KG6 Kilo Oscar 6 Juliet Charlie Alpha.
Kilo Oscar 6 Hotel Romeo November.
Alpha Bravo 6 Mike Bravo.
Alrighty, I'm here. Go that far away. Let's see, we got a good round there. A very good round. Let's see, we did about 11 or so. I got Adrian, Jim, down in Cerritos, Logan, Ellen. I got a GRJ, I think a JAW, pretty sure of that one. The ZVH or ZZH will get you back to you and you can clarify. The JCA, I got an HRN, an AB6MB, and an N6HAL. Did I miss anyone?
KA6 DII Scott San Diego and Papa 9.
KC6 AAQ Tony Papa 1. The Papa 1 station, come back again. You're really real light. Speak up just a little bit. And I got Scott DII.
Kilo Golf 6 Alpha Alpha Quebec. KG6 AAQ Tony Oxnard.
Thank you, Tony. That was better. Yeah, talk buds are pretty nice. I got 4 or 5 of sitting around here somewhere. But I think they kind of follow the same lines as the Baofangs and ones that I remember you just had to get right up on the mic on those, and they don't have any gain or anything. The gain adjustment is how far you're away from the mic, which is kind of crude, but they do work, and they're great radios. So thank you, Tony. Let's go up to Adrian and start out with him. KK6 HNG. Good evening, Adrian. What's up? Can you imagine someone bringing their dog over to Channel Islands or over to at least Santa Cruz? I mean, I'm sure a lot of people have wanted to. And remember Ron, we all remember Ron, he wanted to bring Camo. And I kept saying, no, there's no way you're going to bring that dog over there. And he goes, oh, yes, he's a service dog. And I thought, well, I'm just going to let it go because I don't know. I wouldn't think so. What do you think, Adrian? Go ahead. Welcome.
Good evening, Bob, and everybody on that. This is Adrian KK6HNG. Well, I guess it depends on the place. As far as I'm aware, a cat or a dog on Channel Island is not allowed, as far as I'm aware. I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. They claim it will interact with the ecosystem. Even the tiny foxes are slightly different from one island to the other and all that stuff. So that's probably that. Now, I personally, I'm not a dog owner, never was actually, so can't tell out of experience with dogs on the trail. But I can tell you that in Europe, there is a certain breed that's historically used. It's the Saint Bernard, a huge, gentle giant, very powerful, and very, very calm. And I don't know, my mother was always afraid of dogs, always. We met a Saint Bernard at one point, and you would say it was scary because it was chewing a cow bone like if it was nothing, like it was a small stick. And still, it inspired a lot of confidence to my mother. She said, oh, this dog is so nice, and it inspired her a lot of confidence. Now I know aside from the stereotype with the little keg of room or whatnot there, actually that's a stereotype, but the reality is that in Europe these dogs are used to dig people out of avalanches and to find them, of course. KK6HNG, back to net control.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Adrian. That was fitting with bringing in your mom is afraid of dogs. Yeah, a lot of people are. You know, you see the things on the news of the different kind of dogs that kind of do attack people. And, you know, our daughter has a part pit and part elephant. I don't know, he's so big. He's such a beautiful animal. It looks like a pit bull that transformed into a Great Dane or something, but he's really a wonderful dog. No, he's only 90 pounds, so, you know, soaking wet. All right, well, thank you, Adrian, and we'll see what else we got going on here. We're talking dogs here on Mother's Day. I don't know how I picked that one out. Jim down in Cerritos has KE6FBN.
Good evening. I've got a cold tonight, so all I'm going to do is say hi and bye. Kilo Echo 6 Foxtrot Victor November. Jim in Cerritos.
Oh, man. You get the bell tonight. There you go. Got to have that one. Geez, yeah, I could tell when you came on the DRT net, I thought, I could tell you in your voice, well, it gets better. A lot of people are getting a little bit of a cold, so just, you know, take care of yourself. You knew what to do. Drink plenty of fluids and get plenty of rest, and call me in the morning. And with that, we'll go to Logan. Dr. Logan, how are you tonight?
Good evening, Bob, and good evening, everybody on the net, and happy Mother's Day to all those who celebrate, as they say. And let's see, dogs, yeah. First of all, I've always had dogs around. I love dogs. I won't tell any of my jokes that I used to make about cats, because I guess cats are okay. Actually, I do like cats. The thing about cats is they just show up. I end up with cats. I have my whole life, and like having them around, but they're not dogs. So the kind of the world I grew up in, we had what amounted to country dogs. We didn't have fences. I have removed just an uncountable number of ticks and dealt with foxtails and all kinds of things. Our last dog, and I always had large dogs. I didn't think of small dogs as the same thing as, you know, large dogs. And our last dogs were Pyrenees and a Husky, and they were great. My parents had nobody knows what he was, but it was about 60 pounds of country dog that was just really likable. And they got a hound dog that grew to be about 90 pounds. It's kind of a hound mix. Same thing, you know, people just drop them off. People have figured out in the rural area where they live that if they drop a dog off near their house, my parents would adopt it. So the Harley is the 90-pound Husky mix, and he will pretty much kill he's slowed down now, but he would kill small pigs, which is not a minor accomplishment, and it also scavenged deer parts. And I'm actually leading up to something with this about dogs on leashes. They also had Husky puppy show up, and they adopted it. And, you know, she's a true country dog. She will kill and eat. Not just kill and leave, but kill and eat almost anything she can get a hold of that won't do her in first. I had a good friend with a dog named Shady. It's a Korean dog. I forget the make and model, but it's I think it was known as a Korean war dog. And you know, the way things worked out, when they needed to go on vacation, they had to contact me to arrange house sitting for their dog, because there was nobody who could come near that dog except them and me. 4 people in total. I mean, in my opinion, Shady was a great dog. Shady loved us and was just, but yeah, Shady in the out in the wilds on Santa Cruz Island, that would be international news. The destruction. Yeah, I have seen on a few different occasions what can happen that people don't generally expect when dogs are let off leash. And I won't go into the particulars, but yeah, dogs should be on leashes pretty much everywhere, in my opinion. Even though I grew up with no restrictions and no fences, I am certainly of a different opinion now that I have a lot more experience. And as far as my taking dogs out into the wilds, that sort of stopped about 12 years ago. My wife came home with about a 7-pound mini pin mix, and I looked at the dog and I thought, okay, fine, that's her dog. I'm still getting some Labradors. Anyway, the short version of the story is it turns out to be a great dog, and he's an actual dog. He's just a smaller version of a regular dog. But other than walking him around the neighborhood on a leash, I pretty much stopped hiking with dogs. But I'm actually kind of working on hatching a plan to get another dog here soon. All right. Hope everybody has a great rest of their weekend and week coming up. And again, happy Mother's Day. And thanks for doing the net, Bob. KD6LLB.
Well, thank you, Logan, and thank you for running the DRT net. You really take a good point on that and keep it really good. So do a good job is what I'm trying to say. I was trying to read an email at the same time. I had so many things to kind of come back with, but then as we progressed, I couldn't remember some of them. One of the things when you're talking about having a dog or letting a dog off the leash, unlike on the movie Vacation, they should have let that dog off the leash, if you know what I'm talking about. That's my first thought when you said something about a leash. All right, well, let's head over to Elsinore area. See if we can find K6DV. What she's up to, running around out there with your HT and you got all kinds of good stuff happening over there. So let's hear from Ellen tonight. Welcome, Ellen. W6CJX is net control.
Hello, Bob. Oh, no HT here tonight. I'm just sitting with my feet up on the table and leaning back in my chair and looking at a full moon with a breeze coming through the door. It doesn't get much better than that. And you got a topic that just rang the cockles of my heart. Dogs and camping. I've had dogs my whole life. I was scared of big dogs when I was in my 20s, so what did I do but get a puppy? And I was living in Europe at the time, and so I picked a Doberman Pinscher, German bred, and they're pretty different from the American dogs. I brought her back when I relocated to the U.S., and she was my companion and protector in my van, and I had a Volkswagen bus, and I traveled across country with that from New York City when I got back. Anyway, that's another story for another time, but the very best story is I've been riding motorcycles actively since 2009, thereabouts, and I've gone through various bikes, but I started camping because I love to camp, and I would take my dog with me behind me on the motorcycle, and my first dog, Sparky, went across country twice and up and down the western United States 3 times in his life, so he put a lot of miles with me, and I currently have Bessie, another terrier mix, and well, she's pure, but she's a terrier, and you've met her, I think, some of you at the ham gatherings, because she does come with me, either in the car or on the motorcycle, but we camped across the U.S. to New Jersey 2 summers ago, and we're going to be going up to San Simeon this weekend coming up, and she'll be behind me on the motorcycle, along with my gear, so that's the best part, and I've got 3 other dogs here at the house, and one of them's a Belgian Malinois rescue, and Mindy Mooneater is her name, and she will eat people who are not supposed to be here. And then I've got a livestock guardian that's an Anatolian Shepherd and the Great Pyrenees mix, and he will eat anything that comes after his sheep and his goats. So that's his job. And then the third one is a Chihuahua throwaway, who's adorable, but he's so pathetic. Nobody could love him, so I got him. K6TV. Thanks for having a great topic. Back to the net.
Well, doggone it. It sounds like you've got it covered with the dogs. You've got a riding companion dog, camping and so forth on the motorcycle. You've got a dog guarding your sheep, or its sheep. Probably does think it's its sheep. You got it, and you got the Belgian taking care of all the strangers that might wander through. So, okay. I got a quick question for you: motorcycles and dogs. I used to attend pretty religiously the Elsinore Grand Prix back in the day. I don't know how long you've been in the Elsinore area, because I don't know if I've ever asked you that. But we used to go to the Elsinore Grand Prix, and there was a guy that rode on his Husky, Husqvarna. He used to ride his Husqvarna with a dog on a piece of rug. And he's been in a couple other races, I think the Vegas. Yeah, Barcelona, Vegas, a few of those rides. Did you ever hear of him, or were you around during the Elsinore Grand Prix? Go ahead, Ellen.
Well, into motorcycling in that way I am not. So I have seen videos of people with dogs on motorcycles, and the one with the carpet across the tank and the dog in front of him. It may or may not be the same fellow, but I just like the fact that I have a companion with me when I'm running around. So that's why I do it. And no, I didn't see. I've been here since '77. So if there was a Grand Prix, it would have gone over my radar. Back to the net, K6 TV.
Well, it probably was after that. Well, no, before that. I'm sorry. I mean, you probably came in. You came in after. Okay, yeah, he was pretty famous. I didn't have time to look up the name and all that, but he's pretty famous for riding his little dog. Or the dog's pretty famous for riding on a piece of carpet, which was duct taped to his gas tank. So, and going over jumps and bumps and sand. Oh boy, pretty cool stuff though. But I was into that when I was a child, a mere child. Okay, Ellen, thank you. Jump back in if you think of anything else. And let's say hello to KO6, Golf Romeo Juliet. What's your name and anything you have for the net tonight? We're talking dogs in the great outdoors.
This is KO6 GRJ, Golf Romeo Juliet. My name is Jeremiah. I've been back and forth on the outdoor net, been a little busy lately, especially since I just quit my last job. So now I'm currently out there and just enjoying life. Someone was talking about motorcycles and dogs. That is amazing because I was thinking about doing that with my dog, but he's kind of big, so I worry about that. I hike with him pretty much every day, and I think my biggest thing for that you got to worry about is, especially in California, is going at night, or is when all the rattlesnakes come out and they try to warm themselves on the road or warm themselves on the trail. I took him out onto Great Street Trail, which is going up to a reservoir up here, and it was a night walk, and it ended up with about 4 or 5 rattlesnake babies before I was like, you know what, I'm not doing this anymore, and I decided to turn around and come back home. To me, yes, again, safety is keep your dog on the leash all the time. If you love your dog, you're going to keep your dog on the leash because you don't want anything to happen to him. You don't know what's around the corner, but at the same time, don't do walks towards the end of the night after it's been a really warm day because the snakes are going to be out and there is no one that could help you if you're hiking with your dog. KO6 GRJ.
Boy, do I feel stupid. I know you. Jeez. I was there going, oh, it's Jeremiah. Oh, my gosh. How stupid of me. And I remember your call sign was, well, it's been a little while since you've been on, and I know you were working these hours and maybe enjoying some of the podcasts. The archive of the net comes out on Mondays on the Papa YouTube channel. But, yeah, good point, and definitely something I was going to bring up also about rattlesnakes and dogs. And I see your pictures all the time, and you guys are hiking all over, so I thought you would be the perfect one to have on the net, or that you would enjoy hearing people talking about it. So, but the rattlesnake training, if you can find somewhere, I don't know how expensive it is. It's not cheap, but it's probably well worth it. we did have a dog in the family, not in our family, but my sister-in-law and brother-in-law's family that died from a rattlesnake bite in their backyard. And they had a snake-proof gate or fencing and everything up. It didn't matter. And they threw so much money at it, which they had to for the anti-venom, but they couldn't save her. So it's really kind of sad when that happens. And yeah, keep your dog on the leash. There's places for, there's the leashless dog parks that you can go to, and they let them run free until they start fighting. All right, W6CJX for the Papa System, Great Outdoor Net. Thank you, Jeremiah. Good to hear you finally. Thank you for coming on. KO6, Juliet Alpha Whiskey. Welcome.
KO6, Julia Alpha Whiskey here. My name is Kim. My experience with camping and hiking with dogs, I've gone camping for years with dogs. I love it, though it is an extra thing to remember when planning, making sure that everything's safe and that you just have prepared for water and heat, especially here in California. I went for a hike yesterday with Jeremiah, and he brought his baby boy, who we love so much, and it is always fun. But the biggest fear for me is always other people and whether or not their dogs will be misbehaved. I know that we do our best to take care and make sure that he's under control and having a good time. But other people have far less restraint and control over their animals. And so you do have to sort of plan ahead and make sure your dog knows how to listen to you so that you can keep them safe. That's all I got. I'm going to pass it back. This is KO6JAW.
Well, thank you, Kim. You guys don't be strangers out there. I know you guys do a lot of hiking and stuff, so let's get you on the net here more. But a good point there with definitely keeping them on a leash, because the other person's dog, well, if it's not on a leash, it causes a problem. I've had that issue where that dog runs up and tries to eat your dog, and you can't do a whole lot because your dog's on a leash trying to pick it. One night, I was taking a walk down to the mailbox. I'll say this really quick, but it was scary as hell. It happened to be trash night, thank God. And one of our neighbors is a fireman, LA County Fire, but to protect his family when he's on his 96-hour shift or whatever, he has a police dog. I mean, literally, that dog is the meanest thing I've ever seen. A blackish-looking, really dark German Shepherd. It came out after me and my little poodle. A little dog, too. It came after me and my poodle. I took her and threw her in the trash can, which was empty, luckily, I guess. But it was like the green can. So I threw her in the can, which totally protected her. And then I used the trash can as a barrier between me and the dog until the owner came out and apologized profusely. So there's another example of someone's dog's on it. You're doing the right thing, but the other person may not be. But that was a whole different story there. On the trail, it can get kind of crazy too, right? Well, thank you, Kim and Jeremiah. Thank you so much. That's awesome that you guys came by. Let's say hello, and I don't know if this call sign is exactly right, but we'll find out. KO6, I think, is it Zulu Victor Hotel or anything close to that? Correct me, and please come on in. Kind of sounds like ZVH, ZZH, anything like that. Well, we can come back in anytime. Let's say hello to KO6, Juliet, Charlie, Alpha, I believe it was. Let's see if that's right. Doing a lot of guessing at this point, but I think it's JCA.
Good evening. Yes, it's correct. Kilo Oscar 6, Juliet Charlie Alpha. Name is Jeff. Juliet Echo Foxtrot Foxtrot, coming in on Papa 3 this evening. And I just wanted to comment, Bob, on your comment earlier at the outset about which parks allow dogs. I want to throw a caveat in there, at least in Orange County. I hike regularly Orange County parks, trails all over,
And wilderness parks do not always allow dogs. There's some that are signed, and dogs are prohibited to protect the wildlife and to protect the dogs. So I just thought I'd correct that. People should really check before they hit the trails and bring their dogs out there. It's very stressful for the wildlife as well as dangerous for the animals. And Jeremiah's comment on the rattlesnakes, I regularly run into rattlesnakes actually during the day when I tend to be out on trail in the heat of the day. So that's also another danger for people bringing dogs on trail are the rattlesnakes. Back to net control, this is KO6 JCA.
Well, thank you, Jeff. That's a good point. Definitely. Well, yeah, they're out during the day. I can see Jeremiah's point, too, though, that after a hot day, like today, let's say, or this weekend, the rocks heat up quite a bit, so they probably are slithering around trying to find a nice warm rock to curl up on until it gets too cold and go back into their den. But I don't know if, the pricing of the rattlesnake training, and I know not everybody can do it, and nobody, wants to do it maybe. They don't get bit, but they do. I'm not sure. I've heard both ways. They have live rattlesnakes, so that's for sure. But they also, I think, either have them defanged or maybe not. But there's a whole thing with that, the training. It's all online. You can see it on YouTube. But I think it'd be a good thing to, if you're an avid hiker with your dog, especially in those kind of areas. All right. Well, thank you, Jeff. And let's see if we can pick up KO6 Hotel Romeo November. It seems like that's what I put down. We'll see what we got.
Hi, Bob. Thanks for doing the net. This is Harold in Anaheim on Papa 22. And I enjoy the outdoors. I've never had the opportunity to experience the outdoors with any of our dogs or pets like that. We usually go without them for their well-being. But I love animals. So I think it would be great. I go to places where that people own land and they let their dogs run free and have to enclose them at night because of coyotes and other wildlife. But dogs just have a great time running, so I enjoy that. This is Kilo Oscar 6 Hotel Romeo November. Back to you, Bob.
Well, great, Harold. That's good. I guess, we've taken when we had our little poodle, it was my mom's, and we adopted her. She was a great dog. I just can't think enough about her. But I used to take her camping, and she really loved it, especially the beach. The beach is a great place. You can get a campsite on the beach, like Thornhill Broom that we go to below Magoo. And she just, or any dogs, just put any dogs, they sniff for hours. I mean, you can keep them going, put them on a leash, keep them on a leash, all that, but still, let them run around with a good leash that one of those retractables work great, and let them do their sniffing. My gosh, there's so much to smell. I would say that doesn't always smell great. Not everything smells great at the beach, but I guess dogs don't care. Thank you, Harold. And you see something on the side of the road, next thing you know, you're turning that direction. I know that's how a lot of roadside accidents happen, but that happens to me as I'm looking down at my page, and I'm looking at Jeff next, and then Hal. I called Harold. Hal. Well, close. Started with an H. Jeff, help me. AB6MB. Get me out of there. Welcome to the net.
Okay, Bob. I just have to check. Did you actually mean for me to come on? AB6ME?
Well, no, I was just asking for help. No, I want you to come on. You were up next. Go ahead. You're up to bat. Did you watch the game today? Don't tell the score, but I didn't know if you were watching it. It was a good one.
Yeah, I watched the game today, and I agree it was a good one. Well, dogs. When I grew up, we grew up with a Cocker Spaniel and a couple Pekingese. And they were really good dogs, but, I'm not a dog person, but they were good dogs. But the story I've got actually is I grew up in the Seattle area, and we went camping. Me and my buddy went hiking and camping on the coast, and he brought his dog, a small black dog, who was extremely well behaved and stayed with us and never ran off. It's not something that Anwar, that's his name, Anwar, would do. So the end result of it all, we hiked with him in there, and we were there for a couple of days. We came back out. And by the way, the coast of Washington is beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So we hiked back, and we just got into the park and a ranger walked up to us and said, "Did you guys go out there with that dog into the park?" And yeah. And so he said, that's not allowed. And and I didn't see you guys come, through the gate here with him, because if I had, I would have cited you. And so he gave us kind of a bit of a lecture, and then left, and we got in the car and took off and drove away. But that was a really interesting experience. But yeah, I can see the point. If you had a dog that was wild and running every which way, I could see that why they wouldn't want that dog in there. Whereas Anwar was so timid and he just stayed with us. That's just what he did. So anyway, I wonder if, I don't imagine the fine would have been too small either. He didn't tell us what it was, but he definitely made it clear that if he had caught us, he would have fined my buddy. And he gave him a ticket. So anyway, back to Ned, AB6MB.
Well, thank you, Jeff. I think the fee or the fine for California State is something like $500. Don't quote me, but that's what it was, I believe, back when I was doing a lot of hiking in the Magoo area, Point Magoo State Park. But there's, with all the cutbacks and, I don't know. They probably give them a warning. I don't think they're going to write them up right there, but you never know. I mean, it depends. Yeah, like you said, it depends on the dog. And what a lot of people mention, too, if you've got a dog that's just a saint, it's good around animals, horses, people, doesn't get startled easily and take off or whatever by gunshots, well, there shouldn't be any gunshots, I guess, on the trail anyway, but you know what I'm saying. Just a dog that's just solid, really solid trained dog that knows nothing but its master and that's all that matters type of thing. That would be probably okay, but not totally approved, I think. Like I said, anything else could come out. A mountain lion could jump down. Of course, if it's on a leash, that's not going to help. All right, let's thank you, Jeff. Let's go to Hal, N6, HAL. I'm not going to say K6. No more K6. It's N6, HAL. I promise.
N6, HAL. Since I don't hike and I don't have a dog, I'm not going to have much to say on the subject, but I haven't had a dog since 1990. Had it for my kids, but I swore that was going to be my last dog until I had a piece of property that was fenced and the dog could run free. I like dogs, but as long as they belong to someone else and they're friendly, I like them. I've had dogs as a kid. I had a Lassie and two Cindy's. Lassie was a car chaser. She got run over 3 times and fixed 3 times. Cindy was just really sweet and just never got into trouble. That's my story on dogs and hiking. Thanks for running the net, Bob. N6, HAL, back to the net.
Yeah, I guess there's just some people that are really, really into dogs, which I know a lot of. And then there's people that love dogs but don't want to have one. And then there's people that have nothing to do with dogs. They're just like, okay, there's a dog involved. I'm not going on the trail or whatever's going on. But that's, everyone to each his own. And then cat people, of course, the same thing. It's like cats are so independent, you have to beg for their affection or attention, But some cats are pretty good. All right, Hal. Yeah, that was a good enough story. You filled that in just nicely. You should be a professional. We need to start paying you. We could have you as a shill out there as coming up with all the right answers. All right, let's say hello to Scott down in San Diego. KA6DII. Good evening, Scott. What you been up to?
Yeah, welcome from San Diego. It's Scott from the Ham Shack here and on Papa 9. I'm probably the contrarian out there. I grew up as a horse ranch kind of East County guy with a lot of property, so I'm used to letting the dogs run free. And now I still have those habits. I'm out on the trail with my dogs, and the only leash I really have is a whistle. that I blow, and it sounds something like this, and the dog comes right back. So if I keep them trained, they're real good. We don't see many people when we go out, or we kind of get out away from the crowds and stuff like that, and throw the frisbee out in the bushes and stuff, and the dogs stick pretty close by. So haven't had any problem in the last like 25 years, and had a lot of great dogs and enjoyed a lot of good times out there. K6DII, back to net.
All right, Scott. What I was going to say was very good on that. What I was going to say is we haven't seen or heard from anybody with hunting dogs. Any hunting dogs. If anyone's ever watched that pretty cool show, it's called Mountain Men. I think it's on A&E or one of those. There's that one guy that there's a couple different people have done it, where they have the dogs that chase mountain lions, and they chase them up into a tree. And I'm not even sure what they do with it after that. They're trying to chase the mountain lion away from people's ranches because they start losing cattle or something. So that's kind of daring to send your dogs, which I know are well trained. They've got the radio collars, so you can kind of find them, or if something happens to one, gets hurt, you can find the dog. And but that's scary to send your man's best friend out there to go chase down a mountain lion. So kind of scary stuff there. All right, Scott. Let's say hello to Tony, K06 Alpha Quebec, I believe. Let's go with that. Hey, Tony, welcome.
Hello, Bob, and everybody in that. This is Kilo Golf 6 Alpha Quebec, KG6AAQ. Tony over here in Oxnard. Back east, I had an Irish setter growing up, and we would when I would take hikes to the Wissahickon Creek, if you know what city that's in, we go down there quite a bit. But since I left the East Coast and been out here in California, I haven't owned a dog personally, but both of my daughters have dogs, and now I'll go over to Steamy and walk my daughter's dog. She has a large dog that I like to take on walks. Pretty powerful dog. But other than that, no, I haven't. And I've been out in California since late 1976, so it's been a long time since I've owned a dog. I had a cat, and they're quite different. They're like a person. You gotta let them come and go as they want. But I haven't owned a dog. This is KG6AAQ, back to net.
Well, thank you, Tony. I corrected your call sign, KG6AAQ. Very good. And I have it in the log. Yeah, the thing about, like you said, between cats and dogs, it's hard to control cats if you have one that goes outside. Maybe it's an outside cat or an inside-outside or whatever. But, cats jump fences real easily, and they go over the wall and go to the neighbor's house. Where dogs, as long as you have everything done correctly with your fences and gates and stuff, they usually pretty much stay inside the gate. But, yeah, the cats, it's kind of scary to let them run around. But a lot of them are pretty smart, street smart and stuff, so they can... or outdoor smart, whatever they call that. This is Bob, W6CJX, the Papa System Great Outdoor Net, Sunday evenings, here on the Mighty Papa Network. Let's see what else we have out there tonight. We'd like to take a few more check-ins. We're talking dogs, either hiking, camping, or just anything in the great outdoors with a dog. Have you ever done it, want to do it, or used to do it? Something like that. W6CJX, please call net control.
KM6AVH.
K6LPM.
KF6VPA.
KO6DKX.
KC6EX here.
Kilo 6 Lima, Papa Mike.
Go November.
KF4 PQH. Okay. The timing was a little off. Because I could have got everybody. I got RJ, and then right around towards the end of RJ, somebody came in. I don't think I got that person, but I did pick up a Charlie Papa Mike, I believe. I got Evo. I've got Mike ESW. I got an LPM, or Lima Papa Mike. I got Jeff, WTN, and I got Ron, PQH. Is there anyone else in that round I didn't just call? Please come back.
November, Alpha, Quebec, Quebec.
Okay, I got Dale, and I just need the other person.
KF6 VPA.
VPA Ray. I actually did put you down. I don't know why I didn't call you. But I got you at the bottom of, and why do I have the bottom of the list? Well, it gives you some time. I know you had some stuff going on. All right. Well, let's go with that round. And like I said, if there's any issues with call signs, we'll straighten them out as we go. And let me get some numbers down my page. Why, we're down to 22 already. Good, good. Let's say hello to RJ, KM6AVH. How's it going, RJ? Welcome to the Great Outdoors.
Good deal. Good evening, all. I really don't have any outdoor dog stories because I had a dog when I was about 6 years old and realized it was a lot of responsibility, and so my parents found a better home for the dog, and I was a little upset to begin with, but then I was good with it because I was able to go visit the dog because it was a relative or a friend, and so I fall into the second category. I love dogs, but I don't want to have one. I like being around them. I've been living with one for 3 years, 4 years, and as much as I enjoy him, I don't like the responsibility of having to come home to feed him. My roommate, we share the responsibility, but if you have a dog on your own, you can't go away for 4, 5, 6 days unless you find a babysitter, dog sitter, and I just don't want to deal with that. So, but other than that, yeah, good topic. Dogs are wonderful. I love them. I just don't ever want to be responsible for one. CAM6AVH back to that control.
Well, thank you, RJ. And I know you got to do some work this week. It sounded like you had some fun. You didn't send me any pictures, I don't think. Usually sends me a few shots of what's going on there. But I enjoy hearing about it, and glad you got to do it. Yeah, I think I'd probably go back for 3 or 4 days if I had to for some reason. All right. Well, thank you, RJ. And let's see. I got a little note that came in. It says, living with a dog, 90% is like 90% following each other around. Very true. Watching each other go potty and wondering what the other has in their mouth. Now, there you go. Absolutely. Enough of that. Let's say hello to Dale, N6AQQ. Good evening, Dale. Welcome. How's the weather in Tustin?
A lot cooler than it was last night, 67 degrees. Last night this time was probably more like 87. Anyway, good evening. Had a dog when I was a kid, but didn't do much with him. It was a stray, and we just kind of kept him. I'm a cat person, so I'm not. I love dogs, but I'm a cat person. Anyway, back to that N6AQQ. Thanks for doing it.
Well, I guess should have been keeping score on cats versus dogs. That sounds good. Well, I would say most people like dogs. It's just, I like small dogs. We have our grand dog, we call him, Nicky, and he's a beautiful dog. But boy, he can knock you down too, so you have to be careful. But he's pretty mellow around everyone, and to strangers, we can't really have anybody over that he wouldn't know. And only because he does weird things like he'll run up behind you and try to nip you in the butt. And that's not fun. That's not fun, especially if you're of a certain sex. All right, Dale. Thank you, sir. And a little cooler tonight too, like 73 here in the shack. I don't know what it is outside, but I'm sure it's cooler than that. So it's not bad. I know these fans were been sitting here all year for something, and I've got my biggest fan sitting behind me. Let's say hello to, I got the suffix of Charlie Papa Mike. Are you with us tonight? And 6UTV. All right, Bill. I got you. Let's see if we got a Charlie Papa Mike, CPM. Well, I could throw a KO6 in front of it, and probably have pretty good odds that it might have been. I don't know if that would help, though. Let's say hello to Evo, KO6BKX. What's going on, my friend? Did you hear Ellen talking about the her doggy? Belgium.
Oh, yeah, I heard. Good evening, Bob. Everybody on the net, KO6BKX, Evo in Tustin. Bob, you always seem to bring up a topic for the outdoor net that is of some kind of interest for me. This one, however, you hit it. This is my number one passion. Has been for a long time. Dogs. I've trained dogs professionally. Well, not professionally. It was a hobby. I've trained quite a few rescue dogs. I've adopted quite a few myself, and I can only say, always, everywhere, when you're not on your property, have your dog on a leash, please. You never know what dog you're gonna meet, and you never know what your dog is going to react to that other dog. And I hear people say, "Oh, my dog is friendly." I can see that, but you don't know what your dog is going to do when he meets another dog. So please put your dog on a leash everywhere when you go for a hike. Snakes, yes, it's been mentioned before. Coyotes, I think it's mentioned before. I've seen just too many dogs with problems because of interactions gone wrong. And another thing, dog parks, that's a big no-no for me, unless it's empty. Then I'll take my dog in there and let him run around. But others than that, no. I can go on for hours, but I'm gonna stop here. I heard yesterday that I was a pretty nice person, and I don't want to go and do away with that impression that I got. All right, Bob. Thanks for doing the net. Thanks for this awesome topic, and I will talk to you about this one night or so. Till you're bored to death about it. But with that, I'll give it back to you. KO6BKX, thanks for doing the net.
Well, I'm glad I hit a nerve. And I could say I dedicate this net to you because I knew you were a major dog person, or not just a casual dog person. Does that make sense? I know we've had some talks on the island there and everything, but boy, yeah, it's a pretty neat thing. And I know that right next to where my daughter's house is, there's a guy that trains police dogs, and I mean his truck looks like it too. It looks like one of those SWAT vehicles that come up to your when you see him on TV. But I think he contracts out with the local law enforcement, and so that's what he does. But I'll never forget a neighbor or a friend up in Idlewild that we used to know, Gracie and Bob Curnow. They had the biggest dog I've ever seen in my life, and it was a St. Bernard. I think someone mentioned that earlier. And I mean, that dog, we had little poodles back then, so that was no big deal. So we'd go over to their house and hang out, and we used to get guitar lessons. And that dog would eat like 2 of those large cans of food. I mean, the large cans of dog food. And in like seconds, it just inhale it. He was huge. And drooling on everything, but it was a beautiful, beautiful dog. And I'm sure if I was in the Swiss Alps and he walked up with a little barrel full of, what do they drink in Switzerland? I don't know. No, we'll just say tequila. I would be very happy to see him. All right, let's go to Mike, KC6ESW. you. What's going on in Santa Clarita? Thank you, Eva.
W6CGX, KC6ESW, happy Mother's Day to all those moms out there. And great topic tonight. I too, am a dog lover, but I think I like cats more. We've had a cat here at the condo. She lived 19 years. That was our Pepper Kitty, our Tabby Kitty, and she was a great cat. And I always wanted a cat that, didn't come when you call it and didn't want to be bothered and not like to hide out, and be careful what you ask for. But I think as a rule of thumb, I think for a condo or apartment type of a situation, cats work out really well because they're low maintenance. I do like dogs. I had a Saint Bernard as well when I was a kid. We had a Saint Bernard, Bernie. Bernie's a Bernard, and a huge dog, and he lives a long life too. But there are more dogs as pets than there are cats. I looked it up. Although, again, for smaller spaces, I think cats work out, especially if you're busy and out all day and whatnot. Although I do hear that larger dogs do better in smaller spaces, which I found to be interesting. I'm not quite sure about if that's true or if it's fair to the dog, but yeah, that would be it. Anyway, things are good here. I liked his comment about keeping your dog on a leash. It's very, very important, especially when you're in the hills, because we've got coyotes all the way around, and there's been incidents. So yeah, you want to make sure your pets are safe for sure when they're out and about. All right, Bob, back to you. 7-3, KC6ESW.
Well, there we have another cat person that prefers, or dog person that prefers cats, and that's pretty cool. We had a few of those tonight. That's pretty neat. Cats are kind of like self-maintaining, pretty much. I mean, think about it. You got an endless water dish and an endless food bowl, and then if you get one of these that I saw tonight, the auto putty scooper deal, that was pretty slick. The guy was some kind of rocket scientist, I guess, or aerospace, and he invented this thing. It was on TV. I have no idea how much they are, but it goes in there, and it looks like a washing machine on the inside. And after the cat does his thing and comes back out, I guess the sensors can tell a cat's going in, a cat's coming back out, and then it goes into a little cycle after a few minutes or whatever, just to make sure, and it all the good litter goes through these holes, and the only thing that's left is the clump, and then the clump goes into some kind of a little bucket thing on the bottom, whatever it's called, like a tray. We'll call it a tray, and that's it. So if you got all those things, and you're pretty safe, probably take it off for a couple days and leaving your cat if you had to. I'm just saying. All right. Well, thank you there, Mike. Let's see. Well, LPM, Latin percussion music. I have a few LP items in my possession, but I don't know if that's his call sign. Lima Papa Mike, welcome.
Okay, thank you, Bob and Nanette. This is Brian, Kilowatt 6, Lima Papa Mike, or Labradors, Poodles, and Malamutes. I don't know. At any rate, put me down as a long-time dog person. I'm missing having a dog. My last dog passed away about 10 years ago. Haven't had one since. Now have a cat. And I thought that was going to be a dog cat, but as it got older, it became less puppy-like and more cat-like and got more independent, but still a pretty cool cat. Drives around with me in the car. I would take him outdoors. I actually have a leash and a little vest that he goes in, and he rides in the truck with me. And what made me decide to not just listen, but to comment here was you were talking about Elsinore and the Grand Prix there and so forth, and the dog that would ride on the tank. Well, when I was a kid, when I was probably about 11 or 12 or whatever, we had a dog, a white German Shepherd. She had puppies, and we gave one of the puppies to a friend of mine. And the friend of mine, he had a CR-125 Elsinore, of all things. And he put a piece of shag carpet on his tank with duct tape, and he had his dog, which was one of my dog's puppies, Butch, and Butch would ride around on the tank. And when I heard you guys talking about that, it just really jogged that memory that I had from, another lifetime ago, when I was a kid. I forgot all about it, but it was a very similar story. I wonder now if maybe he got that idea from the Elsinore Grand Prix. Of course, I was living outside of Denver at the time. This was many, many, many moons ago, probably in the early 70s. So there you go with that. I definitely an outdoors person when I was younger, and I had some great dogs. One dog in particular, Bandit, she was great. It went with me everywhere. When I first started my career working in printing presses, she'd come in the press room with me, went everywhere with me, and we did a lot of hiking. And she was just a great natural hunting dog, not fearful of gunshots or anything like that. And we would go for the quail. She was a great quail dog. She would flush them out. And it's interesting, too, that dog got attacked by St. Bernard, so it's all things all go together. It's weird. But that dog got attacked one time by St. Bernard, and after that she was a little bit shy. And I remember we had to beat that. We had to pistol whip this St. Bernard off my dog one time. And so there's that. This is Brian in Riverside, K6LPM, back to Bob.
Wow. Thank you, Brian. That's a great story. And, yeah, don't be a stranger. I was trying to look to see if you'd checked in before. It sounded familiar, but anyway, there's so many call signs, so little time. But I get to know them mostly. We went to the Elsinore Grand Prix because we lived in Idlewild, so we went down the backside, Ramona, and all the way down to Elsinore. And I remember taking my bike at the time, although we weren't in the race, but we just went riding somewhere down there and then went down and watched the race. But that was the one that Steve McQueen was in. Steve McQueen, not McLean. Steve McQueen used to ride a lot. He was a pretty avid Husky rider, although I did see some other documentaries. How did we get into motorcycles anyway? This is kind of a cool transition. And, he did a lot of riding on Huskies and things. But there was another bike that he really liked. Maybe Bill will know. All right, Brian. Sounds good. Thank you for coming in. Appreciate you. And let's say hello to Jeff, the KC6 WTN. Welcome.
Thanks, Bob. Great net tonight. Calling in from the patio shack, I guess you would call it. I'm a cat person, so put me down on the cat side. In fact, I let Little Bear out on my patio daily, and she knows she can only go on the hardscape and is not allowed into the weeds in the field. So just a comment there. Dogs, I drive up to Northern California once or twice a year to visit family, and on 2 occasions I had a friend's dog with me. And one thing that's a neat resource are those state rest areas where you can stop off. They always have a little area for dogs to run around as long as you pick up after them and everything. So I took advantage of those. It makes it really easy to take a dog with you for those 6-hour hauls up to Northern California. Aside from that, if you ever want to have a net on skunks, a family of skunks moved into my backyard about 2 weeks ago, so I've got 3 or 4 I could talk about. But back to net control, KC6 WTN.
Well, we may have to. That sounds like a fun net. I guess we did urban wildlife, but we could do like the type of wildlife that could make it very miserable if you got sprayed or bitten or something like that from it. So you're in the patty shack tonight. Oh, I couldn't help it. Oh my God, patio shack. All right, I'm in the garage shack. I don't know what that would be called, but we won't go there anyway. Now, thank you, Jeff. Appreciate you, and sounded good tonight in the patty shack. Let's go to Ron, KF4 PQH. Good evening, Ron, and welcome.
Good evening, Bob and Annette. This is KF4 PQH in Fort Stockton, Texas. If you've never heard of it, it's about 265 miles from the New Mexico border on I-10. Heads to El Paso today, and expect to be in Houston probably Tuesday afternoon. That's the goal right now. So we're working our way east, eventually back to Virginia. Dogs. Oh, jog my memory. Dog story came to my mind. Circa 1968, 69, little fluffy dog wandered in one day into our hooch. He was an Asian little dog of some sort, and he loved sea rations, and we'd feed him sea rations, and he stayed around, and when I left, he was still there. But he even ate the ham and lima beans. If you've ever eaten sea rations, nobody ever wants that one. But his name was Peppy, and he adopted us, and just hung around. Don't know, he wandered in one day and never left. We had a dog when our kids were smaller for a number of years, but it's been a long time. I've got to a point where I don't want the responsibility of it. But it's amazing the amount of dogs that travel with people out here in their RVs, and I mean even big dogs. Had a friend back at Awanga. He's got a Great Dane named Zeus, and I've seen people with St. Bernards and other dogs wandering out of their motorhomes and their RVs, so you never know what you'll find out. I did have a friend that had a couple of cats, and one of those was even leash trained. She'd take it out and walk it. So 7-3 to everybody from Fort Stockton. This is KF4PQA expecting at control. Stay happy, stay safe, and happy Mother's Day.
Well, thank you, Ron. All the way from Fort Stockton. I swear, every time I turn around, there's another name. I think Texas has more names and cities and towns than any place in the world. There's always a new one that I've never heard of. That's awesome. We'll say Happy Mother's Day to Dee, and you guys enjoy your time there and be safe. And yeah, motorhomes and RVs and even trailers get a lot of people with dogs, and they're fun. Have them around the campfire, and it gives you an excuse to get your you-know-what out of the chair and put the beer can down and take the darn dog for a walk. So I guess it could be a health thing also. I know it used to keep me walking more when I had the little pooch. She was a lot of fun. She loved to go walking. So. Oh well, we'll get over it some point in time. Thank you, Ron. And we got the map up. Carolyn actually got a map the other day in the mail, so we put it up in the office because the shack is completely full of things on the wall. But we'll kind of track your progress there a little bit. Let's say hello to Ray. Sorry to make you wait so late. KF6. Yeah, you're almost like Ron. KF4 here, KF6 ZPA. Welcome, Ray.
Good evening, Bob and the Net. Thank you. This is Ray from North Central Escondido, KF6 VPA. And I don't have a lot of outdoor things to relate about my dog, but we did have a wonderful border collie named Charlie that passed away at the beginning of the year. But 16 years and 10 months he lived to be, just a couple months shy of 17. And he was part of my kids' lives since they were born, and just the most awesome dog. It was very hard at first because he would chase and run after anything that moved, but he trained up quite well, and after working with him for a year, pretty much quite a few days a week, he would heel on command, and just oh boy, he loved to please, and he was like a Velcro dog. He had to be right next to you all the time. But he'd been across the country a couple times with us in the motorhome. He'd been to Yellowstone, and he loved going to the desert, and we'd go out camping and riding in the side-by-side and stuff. And we went to Calico quite a few times, Calico Ghost Town up in San Bernardino County. And he was with us quite a bit. Death Valley, gosh, he'd go with us just about everywhere. And one of the favorite memories I have of him is going up in Palomar Mountain, where I volunteer as a lookout in the forest fire lookout. Continuing, I'd let him out when I'd hit the dirt road. I'd let him out ahead of my truck, and he would run the whole way to the fire lookout ahead of me. And I didn't chase him, because I'd have to go pretty slow because the road would be pretty rough. A lot of it would be first gear, just idling through, trying to get up the rough spots. And he would run the whole way, and he'd go up with me on the mountain. We did that more than a few times, but I'd always leave him around the base of the fire lookout because I'd camp down there at night and stuff, and I don't like to stay in the tower overnight. And one day, I mentioned he's a Velcro dog. I hear somebody climbing the tower and clanging and banging. I go out and look, my dog's coming up the tower, and it's got a very narrow walkway that the dog could easily fall off of, but he negotiated all 7 flights all the way up to the top, and he just had to be close to me and hung out in the fire lookout tower with me for the day. And I never thought he'd do that. I didn't want to yell at him, no, go back, because I didn't want to scare him off, but he did that a couple of times, and I can't say I enjoyed that, but he was the best dog one could have ever had. I do love the border collies. Fond memories of him. So anyway, thanks for bringing back memories. You do a wonderful net, Bob. Have a great week. 73s, KF6 CPA.
Well, you might want to change this net call to the outdoor memory net or memory ward. I'm not sure which, but we do seem to do that, and especially there and Saturday nights too. When the Saturday night round table, all the way back when Cliff was doing it. They'd bring up some old movies and, records or places that they used to be around. So it brings up some great memories, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's healthy, especially for all of us older people that could need to work our memory as much as we can. So very good, and that I can't believe when you said that. I thought there was somebody climbing the tower, not the dog. So that's just amazing, and yeah, it must have been kind of scary to watch him come up. But they are so smart. What a smart dog. And I bet he or she, I don't know which it was. I forget what you said the name was, but it doesn't matter. Must have been a wonderful dog. So with that in mind, a little bit of a teaser for possibly next week, and I think it's probably a go. I'll have to check with the producers. But I think we might do, this is before Steve's Cabin Net, which will be on the next weekend, is we're going to talk about a famous bear.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
So I won't let you know who it is, but you'll have to wait and see. And I think he has a birthday coming up, not till August, but we'll celebrate it early. So give you a little teaser for next week. And last but not least on the list, we've got Bill. N6UTD, thank you for being patient. And anything you have for the net, whether it be dogs, motorcycles, cats, or anything. Go ahead. Welcome.
Good evening, Bob, and everyone on the net. So, I have a pug, and I've actually been thinking about taking it riding with me. I have a pack. I think he can go either on the front or the back of me, but haven't done that yet. But I did go tent camping 2 weeks ago, same weekend as the Hamvention, up in Idlewild. So I was experiencing the same weather as the Hamvention people were getting, which was ice or not, snow and rain. And the reason that's important is because, at least to this net, is because one of the guys who joined us on the camping trip, he brought his dog. I think it was a young German Shepherd. Anyway, fun dog. I like the dog, but I'm a dog person anyway. So, but the thing is I realized I was glad I didn't bring my dog, because bringing a dog camping is like bringing a young child camping. You really have to take care of them. It's a lot of extra work, and at this point in my life, I'm just trying to simplify my life and be a little bit, and I'll admit it, I'm a little bit selfish sometimes. I wouldn't have, at least in the way that I wouldn't have wanted to have a dog with me. I much preferred just being more carefree and focusing on the company and the camping, and it was really noticeable too, because we had a tarp, like a roof over our campfire to prevent the snow and rain from putting it out. We were all huddled underneath this roof and around our campfire, and of course the smoke would change directions regularly, so we were moving around there, and then the dog's part of the moving process too. So, and it was all right, but I was just glad I didn't have my dog camping. So, moral of the story is, I wouldn't take my dog camping, but that's just me. Anyway, it was fun being up there in Idlewild and camping in I don't know the name of the park, the Idlewild County Park there, I guess. So that's my latest with dog camping. Anyway, back to you, Bob. Thanks for doing the net. N6UTD.
Thank you, Bill. I was cracking up when you said it's bringing a dog, especially a lively dog, like a puppy or something, is like bringing a small child. Boy, that's very true. You got to keep your eye out at all times. Of course, they should be on a leash, but dogs can only just sit around, especially the younger dogs, for very long, and they want to go out and explore. And so, yeah, you got to probably spend most of your time. But you figure maybe you're camping by yourself and you took your dog, your man's best friend, and just go take a walk around the lake or something. It'd be kind of pretty darn fun. What was I going to say now? I already forgot. Much for the memory net. Let's see. Well, I'm out of stations. I might have missed some, so let's do that first. If we any missed stations or late check-ins before we shut down the net, we'll take you now. W6HX is net control.
Comment.
Kilo Oscar 6, Golf Whiskey Romeo.
Like, pace plan for soda that was really good for the Big Bear Hamvention is good to remember, like, right, it's individual, but also for all your pets. So you have to have a pace plan for them.
I think you were the one that yelled out comment, which is fine, but did I get your call sign? Come back.
Oh, sorry. Kilo November 6, Mike Romeo Golf. Valley Center.
Okay, great. Yeah, that's definitely something to have some fun with. Well, it does depend on the dog, depends on the person, I suppose. And like I said, if you're kind of by yourself, you can spend more time with the dog and not ignore other people that are with you there. I picked up Hal as a recheck, and I got KO6 GWR. Let's go with KO6 GWR. Give us your name and anything you have for the net tonight. Welcome.
Kilo Oscar 6, Golf Whiskey Romeo. This is Rod in Santa Clarita on Papa 38. Thanks for doing the net, Bob. Hey, great topics, man. I think the last one that I got to join in was horses. So you talked about two of my favorite critters, horses and dogs. And my dog of choice is the German Shorthair Pointer. We've had them in our family my entire life. We're kind of in between dogs right now, but we've used them for hunting and everything, and it's just been a great joy to have them around and stuff. They can be destructive if left to their own devices, but that's just because they get bored. So you got to keep them busy. So that's about it I wanted to say very quickly. And just a quick shout out to Ron in Texas. My two sons live in Pflugerville, Texas. So back to Bob in the net, KO6GWR.
Well, thank you, Rod. I thought of your name when I was saying your call sign again, so it's starting to blend together. You know, it's like some people, you know their call signs more than you know their name, but then it kind of, when you said Rod, that was perfect. Man, so at first I thought you had the dog your whole life, but I thought, well, could I find out where you get those? I hate it when you have to trade in one, and I don't mean to say it that way. I will lose one. Just lost one too. So, but I understand it was the breed that you're talking about, and sounds great, really does. And we're having fun out here. And of course, we got other archived nets that are out there from the Great Outdoor Net. So if you go to the Papa website, drop down the YouTube drop down the home page area there, and then look for YouTube. And then I think it's the second one down, gives you a link to the Papa YouTube page that has all the archive of these nets. They're just audio, and I edit them a little bit, clean them up a little, so it's okay. We just have a little bit there. And let's say hello to Hal one more time. I think we'll close the net. We're overdue. Good evening, Hal, again. Welcome back. And what you got for us?
Hello again, Bob. I figured it's Sunday night, outdoor net. I at least got to give a try to get a smile out of you. I told you earlier about an old dog I had named Cindy. This was back in 1990. It was for the kids' dog. We lived in a residential neighborhood with a fence around the property, and we didn't have to worry about the dog getting over the fence because she was kind of a little overweight and she couldn't jump over the 3-foot-high fence on the side yard. So we didn't have to worry about her when we left because she couldn't jump over the fence. All she would like to do was, the fence was right next to the street sidewalk, and all the kids coming and going to school, she'd have to run over there and greet them, put her paws up on the fence because she couldn't go over it, and they would come up to her and pet her, and she'd just lick them to death. She was just a real friendly dog, and that's my story. N6HAL, back to the net. Thanks, Bob.
I know, aren't dogs wonderful? And I'm just focusing on dogs. We've kind of crossed over to the cats, and they're wonderful too. been a cat person, but just a dog. You know, and when you've seen these commercials maybe of people bringing their therapy dogs into the hospitals, and especially the senior living facilities. I remember now my mom, when she was at a senior living facility, she had the dog that we just lost, and so that was her companion there. But some of the places in the hospitals, the children's hospitals, they bring these dogs in. It's such healing medicine and gives them just good hope and get better and all that kind of thing. So it's pretty neat. I like that, and the dogs can really do that. I'm sure the kids really enjoyed her jumping up on the gate, even though she couldn't jump over, but just to say hello. So that's really cool. All right, with that, we're a little bit over, but not bad. We can handle it. I want to thank everyone for checking in tonight. I want to thank all the PAPA members for their generous support of the PAPA system with their dues and making all this possible. Thank Cecil for his legendary leadership. I see another repeater coming up. I won't let the cat out of the bag yet, but it's over here going, meow. It's screaming. It's trying to get out. So another repeater is on its way. And to the mountaintop people, you know who you are, the mountain men. Go up there and climb all those towers and climb everything and do all the good stuff that we need the maintenance for, and everyone behind the scenes. And our net controllers, don't forget those net. You make sure you tip your net controllers too. We'll be here all week. W6CJX will be closing the net at 21:35 and saying 7-3 and good night. Have a great week ahead. And we'll see you again next week on the Great Outdoors.